What's up, good people? You got Vell here, aka Vell, and welcome to my channel. Today we are back with another video, and today we are recapping another full episodes of Welcome to Sweetie Pies, and this is the 4th episode of season 1, and it is titled Family Matters. So in the first scene, we have Tim arriving at the Sweetie Pies Mangrove location. We then find out that Tim has not been at work for a full week because he has been at the hospital with Jenae and TJ, who is still at the hospital because he was born 3 months early. Tim then says that TJ is still in the incubator and that he is not breathing on his own and that he is on a feeding tube and still unable to breathe on his own. Tim states that he came to the restaurant to basically show his face. He wasn't really returning to work, but the restaurant employees are like an extended family for him, and he wanted to basically show his face and let everyone know that he's hanging in there. Before the restaurant opens, Miss Robbie calls for a prayer with her associates, and then she asks Tim, "Why are you here?" Now for me, this was like a heartfelt moment, because she was like, you need to be at the hospital taking care of Jenae and TJ and being there for them. And she was like, I told you I got this. And I could just tell, I could feel that energy. You could feel that mother-son bond, and you could feel that they are truly partners in that business where they're both there to support each other and hold each other up in the business. And in that moment, she was saying, you have a lot on your plate, I got you. Like, we both got this business, but when it comes to something that's serious, I want you to take care of you and take care of your family, and I got this while you do that. And so for me, I got a little sentimental in that moment, I have to admit. Miss Robbie is now running the restaurant completely on her own. She says that running the restaurant by herself is a hell of a job and that it is really hard for her to do at this point. However, she is still around there cracking the whip, she's yelling and fussing, and in one of her frustrations she said, I was saying that I would not be around here bitching today, but she was saying basically, with all the issues going around there, they weren't gonna allow her not to be bitching and moaning that day. In the next scene, we're catching up with Charles, who was actually supposed to be at the restaurant already working, because Tim is not there and he's supposed to be helping to cover and help Miss Robbie. Well, while that's supposed to be happening, we're instead at Charles's apartment where he's slowly getting glammed up and slowly getting dressed. He then gets picked up by his father because, again, he has those 6 cars that he could not keep, and so he's getting a ride from his father. While en route, Miss Robbie's calling. She's asking Charles, where are you? She's saying you were supposed to be here at 1 p.m. He's kind of like, yeah, I'm on my way now. And then Charles's father steps in and then tells Charles to tell Miss Robbie through the phone that they're on their way, quit calling, bothering him. So Miss Robbie then responds, I'm not calling him, I'm calling your phone, and tell him to mind his business and stay in the railroad and get out of her business because Charles is employed by her. So they disconnect from Miss Robbie. Charles's father then starts to give him some wisdom, saying, hey, you basically got to step it up, be more responsible because they're depending on you because Tim is now away dealing with what's going on with TJ, and that Charles should be there to have their back while that's all going on. Charles then says, I am there, I do help sometimes. I'm like, based on that reaction and based on that response, I'm saying, Charles, you're still not getting it. It's not about helping out. It's like really being fully engaged and a part of that situation to help relieve the weight. Miss Robbie should really be chilling and you should be around there humping and fussing at people and getting the work done. So for me, the funniest part is when Charles and his father finally pull up to the Mangrove location. Miss Robbie comes out. She's so old school, I love it. She comes out with a stick. And just when you thought she might be getting ready to beat Charles with it, she demands that her brother-in-law come out of the car so she can beat him with that stick for talking to her that way over the phone. Now, she did say in her confessional that she feels sorry for her brother-in-law because he married into the family and he didn't know what he was getting himself into. She admitted that they all run him ragged, all of the sisters, and she basically was saying he's a good guy. So it was kind of funny. And they kind of laughed off her coming to the car with the stick to beat him. And then she tells him before she lets him go, you lucky I couldn't find my baseball bat. And then as Charles is walking away, she swats him and says, get in there. Oh, I love it. So Charles is now in the restaurant. He's moping around. He's pretty much just existing. Miss Robbie in her confessional then says that Charles is not reliable or responsible, and that she's hoping that while Tim is away, he's seeing this as an opportunity to step up. And this gives us insight, because I've been trying to put the pieces together of like what was her ultimate plan. She said that she wanted to leave the restaurant to Charles and Tim. Now Tim, we know that that's not a possibility, most likely after these trials for sure, but what about Charles? I don't think Charles is even engaged with the restaurants now. So I wonder, what does her transition plan look like 9 years later? Who has she decided now to leave the restaurants to? And I'm wondering, why hasn't she really considered her sisters? I guess they are older. They're not, you know, she's the oldest, but they definitely have held it down. I've even personally seen the sisters at the Upper Crust location during my visits there. So I'm wondering, what would make her jump to Charles and Tim versus some of the other family members who work at the restaurant? I wonder, was it really based only on age? Was it based on patriarchy of passing down the restaurant through the males in the family? Like, how does she come up with that? Let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think? Or in our text community, let me know, what do you think? Why do you think that she chose Charles and Tim originally over any of the other family members? She then goes on to say that depending on Charles is like depending on a branch that can't even hold a fly. It's gonna fall. So Charles is moping around the restaurant. He's saying that he wish he had went to the other restaurant instead. The cashier is saying, well, why? You don't like being around us anymore? And he said, no, it's not that. It's that I have nothing to do. Well, I'm kind of like, I'm sure there's a ton that could be done around that restaurant. But Charles is lazy, as we know, so I'm sure what he meant by that is there's nothing to do around here that I would want to do. So even with that, Miss Robbie, against her better judgment, decides that, hey, I'll take what I can get as far as relief. And so she decides to have Charles watch the restaurants while she went to the hospital to visit Tim, Jenae, and TJ. So Miss Robbie arrives at the hospital where Tim and Jenae's mother are. So they are huddled around little TJ, giving him love and being supportive to help him develop, giving him that closeness and the warmness as much as they can of having family around, letting them know that everyone is cheering for him to gain his strength to be able to come out of the incubator. Miss Robbie then begins to talk to Tim, telling him that this is where he needs to be. He needs to be there for his son. She's encouraging him and coaching him on child development, basically. She's saying, your child needs you here so that he can hear your voice. She was like, don't be afraid to actually talk to him. So I could see in that moment that where Tim says he has no experience with, you know, male role models, he doesn't know what being a father looks like. You could see that in that moment that he has no idea what to do. He's pretty much stuck, and he's there, but he's not really there. Like, he's lost. He's like a little kid who gets a baby and it's like, hey, be a father. They're like, huh, what? So Miss Robbie is really coaching him and explaining to him what he needs to start doing to be a father and help little TJ develop. Meanwhile, little TJ is gripping Tim's finger. He's moving his legs when they touch them. So he's alert, and Miss Robbie's emphasizing he knows that we're here. So after a while, Miss Robbie says that now that TJ is resting, he's doing well, she's gonna head back out to the restaurants to go take care of things. So we return to the restaurant with Miss Robbie. She's saying that her nerves are on edge because now she's working at the restaurant 24/7 to compensate for Tim being away. The restaurants are jam-packed. She's fussing at the staff because she's trying to get those lines moving. She's saying that it is very important that they always have the food ready because when there's something that is not ready, then it holds up the line. She says that customers then get upset and then they start to leave. So she's fussing at the kitchen staff. She's back there like, why are you making this? And you should be making that. And I told you I need the cornbread and all of this. So she tells the staff that I have customers now walking out. And she says, if they start walking out, I'm gonna start sending y'all out the door with them. Because Miss Robbie don't play about that business. So now we're checking back in with Tim and Jenae, who are at the hospital. Tim is asleep. Jenae is comforting TJ. Once Tim wakes up, he asks what has occurred, if there's been any news from the doctor. Jenae is updating him as if he was not even at the hospital, so I'm not sure what was going on with that. Did he sleep through it all, or did he get there late and then went to sleep and she ended up back in the room? I have no idea, but he seemed very disconnected from what was really happening. But anyway, Jenae is updating him. She's saying that they did an ultrasound on TJ. She's saying that he was doing very well, that he had no internal bleeding. He was in perfect condition. They were wondering about his brain development, there was going to be any brain damage, and then the results came back that he was good and there was no brain damage. So they were very happy about that. Tim then reaches out to Miss Robbie to give her the great news. She's of course emotionally overwhelmed and she's tearing up, but very happy, and she was saying that, you know, now all we have to do now that he's developing well is just continue to be there for him, let him know that family is here, and let him know that everyone is praying for him around the world. And I remember that. I know those of us who were fans, we were very invested in this part of their story for sure in the very beginning. Tim then suggests that Jenae go home to get some rest in their own bed. Jenae says, I'm here and I'm not leaving until TJ is coming home. So she says, you know where my bed is, it's over there. Tim is like, I know, but it would be good for you to get some rest at home. But I think he wasn't getting it again. I think that was that detachment of not having a father figure, not seeing an example of what that looks like, parenting in a more traditional sense, that you really don't even have to question that the majority of mothers after giving birth are going to be in that same mindset as Jenae was. Like, I'm not going anywhere without my baby. I got that off GP. Like, you wouldn't even have to tell me. I'd be expecting that the mother's gonna want to stay. Now fathers, they come and go, but in general. So then in Tim's confessional, he's saying that things have changed so much, that Jenae entered the hospital at 6 months pregnant and their lives have totally changed. He said they're like ships passing in the night. They have barely even been together because of the fact that she hasn't been home. He was like, they went from date nights and having meals to barely seeing each other, basically, at this point. Once again, I think it was him not getting it. A little bit of that father jealousy thing that I hear that happens. I haven't been a father yet, but I hear that fathers can sometimes get jealous of that bond that happens with the mom, and then the priority shift where the child becomes the priority and then the father kind of has to fall second in line. And so I think Tim was experiencing some of that in that moment. And we know that Tim is spoiled and he's used to attention being on him. So that was a huge adjustment for him, I'm sure. Miss Robbie then shares that she's very disappointed in Charles and that he's more trouble than he's worth. He's been a huge disappointment in this time where he's supposed to be stepping it up. So then she has this idea and she says, I'm gonna give Charles a different job. So then Charles shares with two of the staff that Miss Robbie has now put him in charge of advertising. Now they are laughing and saying, are you serious? And so one of them was like, I know it's a joke. You're joking, right? So I found it, I'm like, even the employees, the staff and his peers, because they were obviously around his age, they knew that it made no sense to put Charles in charge of anything. So what I found was funny was one of them said, make sure you stay focused. So they're helping Charles kind of brainstorm the idea. He basically had no idea of what to do. He said, well, I can't afford to put a commercial on TV. So like he instantly went to big advertising, which he could not afford. But they were able to give him an idea of basically creating a video and posting it on the web, as they said, and basically pushing it out that way and hoping that it would become viral. So in the next scene, Miss Robbie is sharing a little bit about her past and her history as a child. She's talking about in her childhood how her father was the breadwinner, and after cashing his check, he would determine how much money the mom would get from it, basically like an allowance. And she said that at that point in her life, she decided that when she became an adult, she would not depend on any man. She was not feeling that situation at all. She said, so she was determined, as even a child, to figure out ways that she could survive and have her own money without ever having to depend on a man. We then meet her business consultant, Mr. Bussey, for the first time. Miss Robbie and Mr. Bussey are talking about the business expansion and what's going on with trying to work with the banks and getting the loans. Basically at this point, Miss Robbie is over all the back and forth with the banks. She's saying basically the banks are breaking her heart and this whole process is taking too long. Mr. Bussey then says he has private investors that are willing to invest money within the next couple weeks in this project. Miss Robbie then says that she had not thought about private investors and that she wanted him to pursue that idea because at this point she just wants to make her dream happen. This is a part of the series that I actually forgot, that I guess they didn't go with the traditional banking situation and they went with private investors instead. It looks like it all worked out, which is great, but then it also makes me think her joke in the last episode where she was like, I don't care where the money comes from, you can go with Al Capone, the mob, blah blah blah, this and that, and it was said as a joke, but I don't know. I know Al Capone is dead. I do know that. Please don't comment below. But I'm just wondering what kind of investors she really ended up going with in the end. But it looks like it worked out. But then again, on second thought, with everything happening, and we're learning as we go, private investors, there's been rumors in the streets that Tim owes people big money and all of that. Is this related to the upper crust opening? Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, I have no idea. But who knows? We may find out. Time will tell. Is this whole murder for hire thing related to upper crust in some way? So then we join Tim. He is going to work out. He's going boxing. He's explaining that he needs to always work out to relieve his stress. That's his way of escape. He says that Miss Robbie always gets on him, I guess because he's going to work out too much. I don't think we see it, but anyway, this is what he's saying. And so he's venting to his boxing instructor about the baby. He's saying that, the baby is basically running the show at this point. And he's saying it in a way like he's resenting that the baby is taking up so much of their life at this point. But then the boxing instructor advises him wisely that once you have children, they're always running the show. Once again, and I feel this repetitive thing that I'm repeating because of Tim's lack of experience with traditional parenting and having a male figure in his life and all of that, I think equates to this is all just new to him. And he is baffled by the fact that this child has come in and had the audacity to change their life. Like, who does that, right? Children changing your life? Imagine that. So now we're at the restaurant with Miss Robbie. Tim has now returned to work after 2 weeks of being away. Miss Robbie is asking Tim if he went to go see TJ that morning before coming to work. Tim then says, yes, I did go see TJ this morning. She's like, okay, good. She was like, you have to go and see that baby every morning. You need to have your priorities straight. She says, you are now a father. She says, instead of prioritizing that gym, you need to prioritize going to see your baby first. She tells him that's most important. She tells him, I just want you to get your priorities straight. Tim then says, I went to go see the baby this morning because I went to take Jenae breakfast. She said, that's good. That's what you're supposed to do. What do you want, a happy face? So then Tim gets defensive. He's like, why are you getting on me? She says, I'm not getting on you. I'm just making sure that you understand that your life has changed now. And you have a baby depending on you, and you need to be there for him. And she says, just like you can depend on me, your child needs to know that they can depend on you as well. And then again, we can see, although we didn't see the nuances and details of Tim's behavior and actions during that time, but based on the responses from Jenae and then also Miss Robbie and some of what Tim has said himself, we could see that he was really not taking fatherhood that seriously. He kind of figured, hey, we're gonna have this baby and then my life will continue, and that's Jenae's thing. That's everybody else's thing, and I'm just gonna have the title of a father. And so Miss Robbie's taking that moment to put him in check, like, hey, no, you need to prioritize your child. You need to be a father. And being a father does not look like you having your normal life and the child fitting in where they can fit in. She then closes by saying, I want to be as proud of you as a dad as I am of you as a son. Once again, we're back on Charles. Miss Robbie and Tim are conversing about Charles's laziness. Miss Robbie has gone into defense mode. I think she's doing some wishful thinking kind of thing. Tim is saying he's not working. Look at him just standing around. She's like, he's trying, he's working, he's waiting on tables. And then Charles is standing at the cash register line and they're talking about him out loud. And Miss Robbie's like, you're working, right, Charles? Charles is like, yes. She's like, that's right, show Tim that you're working. And so he says, yes, I'm working. Tim then looks at him basically and shaking his head because he's like, you working? And Charles says, yeah. Well, Charles, you're standing still and doing nothing the whole time you're saying that you're working. So your actions are not aligning with the words that are coming out of your mouth. And Charles was too oblivious to even notice it. So Jasmine, who was fired in the last episode by Miss Robbie, has now returned. She's having lunch at Sweetie Pie's. She's talking with Charles because he's decided to recruit her for the video commercial that he's trying to create for the Sweetie Pie's restaurant. They're sitting down, they're talking about the ideas, the concepts of it, talking about maybe creating a jingle for the restaurant, etc. Well, while they're just talking, Jasmine's like, how's work going? Charles is saying he's tired, that his feet are hurting. Jasmine asks how long had he been at work. He's like 4 hours. Just then, Tim rolls up on him in stealth mode, and he just stands there, and Jasmine is like, dun dun dun. So Charles just says, okay, well, I gotta go. So once again, like, he's just, you're supposed to be working, you're on the floor, and then you just take a random break and sit down with your friend and start lollygagging. Charles is a mess. So now we're back at the hospital. Tim and Jenae are talking. Little Tim is about to have a spinal tap and they can't be in the room. So they're in a waiting area and they're talking about how they've both been dealing with this whole thing with TJ being in the hospital. Tim is asking Jenae if she feels like he's been around enough. And she basically was saying it looks like he finds something to do all of the time to give him excuses to kind of not be around. So he then is telling her, I've been giving you opportunities to leave, and every time that I'm offering for you to be able to go and leave while I'm here, you always refuse. And she's saying she's dealing with it on another level because she's the mom, and she says she feels guilty when she's not there, but she also feels guilty when she's there because she feels like the baby should still be in her because she's supposed to carry it to full term. And so she has a guilt there, like maybe she failed her baby in some way. And so she's dealing with a lot of things, postpartum, all of that. And they were basically hashing it out and realizing that they're coming from it from two different perspectives. In the end, Jenae was saying that no one would really understand how she feels and what she's dealing with unless they've also been through it. So in the next scene, Miss Robbie is expecting the prospective investors to come out and observe the restaurant, see how things are running. She's very stressed about the pending visit. She's on her staff saying, hey, make sure everything is running well, no fighting today, make sure the food is good, all of that. Then, of course, like any good storyline, there's a plot twist. The cash registers go out. They go out and they're panicking because she's like, the cash register would go out on the day that the investors are coming. She doesn't want anyone looking like they're panicking and the customers to be upset, etc. So they're rushing to get the main register up and running while diverting the customers to a secondary register. Thankfully, through the magic of editing, it seemed like they got it done right in time, right before the investors were walking through the door. They end up having a meeting with Miss Robbie while they're eating food. They are going through the potential of investors and financing for her. They mentioned to her that some of the investors may want to be involved in her day-to-day business in order for them to fund the project of the upper crust. She then says she's open to anything, but they're also saying, well, they know she's been in business forever and that she has a great track record in the community, and so they may be able to get around that part of it. In Miss Robbie's confessional, she says that it looks like the private investors may take just as long as the banks with this whole thing. And so now she's starting to think it's back to the drawing board. She's saying that on top of that, they want to be involved in her business and tell her what to do, and she's really not feeling that part of it at all. And so she says that they probably are back to the drawing board. So in the next scene, Tim has picked up Jenae from the hospital. He's taking her to the Sweetie Pie's location so that she could see everyone and get out of the hospital for a while. She comes back to the restaurant with a warm welcome. The staff is running up to her. They're hugging her. They're asking to see pictures of the baby. They are encouraging her. And Tim was saying that he really felt like she needed that energy, and he could tell that she was lighting up with it. It happened to be on the day where they had their live piano player, which Miss Robbie said they occasionally did. So Miss Robbie decides to take the floor. She starts to sing Lean on Me as a dedication to her grandson, TJ. She says that her family has been through a lot of things lately, but it's times like that you need to look around and count your blessings. And so that closed out season 1, episode 4 of the Welcome to Sweetie Pie's recap. Let me know by commenting below, count your blessings. Yes, count your blessings. As Miss Robbie said, her family has been through a lot of things, but you sometimes just have to look around and count your blessings. We now know 9 years later that all they went through, those months of stress and praying and having TJ be in an incubator, we now know him to be a healthy child who is vibrant, and we've seen him on many episodes after that. And so although they went through that hardship, there were still many blessings that they still had to count. And it's the same with us. No matter what we're going through, no matter what it looks like today, just like them, in the future, it could totally turn around and be a distant memory. So count your blessings as I am counting mine. So with that, if you are new to this channel and you're not already a part of the EOV family, please make sure to hit that subscribe button right now, would be a great time, and that notification bell so that you will be aware of when we post new videos weekly. and those ones sprinkled in. And if you are already a part of the EOV subscriber family, the comment below gang, the notification gang, and the text me community, thank you guys, I appreciate you as usual. Make sure to add that extra layer of support by liking this video below to help us continue to grow on our road to 10,000 subscribers and beyond. So with that, till next time, till I upload the next video, thank you guys, I appreciate you, take care, be blessed, peace.